But at that point, my racing was just like a little bit ridiculous. I could, out of 8 lanes, I could race seven and win the race. Tell me what's the proper release date for that. When this car is going to be ready? Stop lying. Don't tell me that it's going to be here by Christmas and get 6 months later. It's probably the most expensive real estate that you have a slot car track on. And I remember entering that place was just like rust, dust, spiders, and boxes. Last year alone, we have over 800 new slot cars in the market.
Wow. Hello! You are listening to Talking Utter Slot, the podcast about having fun with toy cars. I'm Scott, and this week I'm delighted to say I'm joined by another guest from America, somebody who's often on the camera but not actually the subject of an interview. It's Marco from Electric Dreams. Hello, Marco.
Hello, Scott. How are you?
I'm very well. I should say good morning because by the miracle of the globe being the size it is, you're at breakfast time and we're sort of at dinner time. But it's great that we're able to link up. Thank you for doing this. Many people, I'm sure, will be aware of Electric Dreams, particularly after the Nationals and the racing that was on just a couple of weeks ago. But give us a quick synopsis about Marco. Where are you from? How did you get into slots, and how did you get to be in the role you're in now?
I don't know if I have that kind of memory on me. Let me see. Okay, my name is Marco. I'm from Brazil. I carry the same name as my father, which brings me a lot of legal problems, but we're living with it. It's very common in the Latin world, so the people have the sons have exactly the same name. I've been involved with slot cars since I was 11 years old, I think. I bought a used car from a colleague in school. It was a very expensive thing, and he sold me his used one because he was getting a new one as a Christmas gift.
Right.
So I got that car. I started to go myself. My father didn't have time, but at some point, very quickly, he got involved because he was doing this on the 70s. As he got involved, things in my home country, my home city, Porto Alegre, which is the south of Brazil, um, we have like mid 90s, and then we have some sort of a boom because the exchange rate was very good, and the market was recently open, so we could import stuff from the US. And rapidly we have new tracks like banked curves, 8 lanes, Blue King style. Um, when I was 13, 14, I started to do chassis because everything was a scratch build. Or not only scratch built, but people used to have there was companies who did like brass and piano wires chassis, and it was a big advantage if you redo the chassis and realign everything and resolder everything. So I got that skill, and then I started to fund my racing building chassis to other people. At some point, a new raceway opened from the countryside. They decided to move to the capital, Porto Alegre. And this guy was only focusing on doing motors. At that time, we have like Group 12, Group 20, Group 27. And his focus of these guys was doing motors because he was the only one with the tools to do it. Nobody else had in the city. So everybody comes to him for the motors, but nobody was doing the chassis. And I was hanging out for like I was 13, 14 at the time. And he started to ask me to do the chassis for him. When you see, I was kind of almost a full-time job, going to school, going straight to the raceway, doing those chassis, bring stuff home, taking up my grandma's dinner table, and this guy at some point was doing very badly in business, and he started to loan me a lot of money. My father was aware of this situation, and he was doing the hard part, going there trying to see if the guy will pay me. And my father passed away a long time ago, but he was a very good negotiator. And somehow one day he went there for a meeting with the guy to see how the guy will pay me, and he used the money that he owed me as a down payment to buy the raceway.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, my mom didn't know, so that was our new job. So I got a job at 14 with my father. I stayed there till I was 16, 17. And at some point, the lease was going up. And my mother said, look, this boy needs to go to college. He needs to study. He needs to have a normal life. He's not going to be doing classes his whole life. And it's smelling that acid and solder flux. and she put an end on it. And yeah, it was like a 2 years and a half, 3 years run. The track was pretty good. I learned a lot. I was his main mechanic, going there from Sunday to Sunday. I remember having my father knock at my door on a Sunday morning, say, "Oh, just got a call. There's a guy coming with 8 kids. We need to build 8 cars." Yes, all right. So we go there. I remember the drives. I remember everything. And that was it. Like I didn't compete on my track, only on special races like the nationals or the not the nationals, but the state championship. I won the state championship a couple times. But at that point, my racing was just like a little bit ridiculous. I could out of 8 lanes, I could race seven and win the race
Okay.
and take my car out. My father, I did this a couple times, and my father was just pissed to say, "No, you come back to the track, respect it." Just I don't need to. Let's take
So,
my car.
so these are obviously not, Carreras and Scalextrics. These were completely, did you describe, being made up? Have you
Yeah,
got?
yeah.
Have you still got any of them? Are they still?
Yeah, no, I have all of them actually. Like I kept the chassis and I found Mr. Jorginho in Brazil who has the mold, so he made replicas of my car. So I have like 8 or 9 cars that I still have to assemble, but I still have the very first chassis I had. I have the chassis that I won the state championship. Was 132nd and 124th, custom made metal chassis with Parma motors and Muda motors and this kind of stuff.
And those things weren't cheap, were they? Even at those, they were quite
For us, it
expensive.
was very expensive. I
Yeah.
remember when beginning that I had to save money for months to get a crown gear. Especially in Brazil when we're just reopening the to import products, like to have a pink PSC Parma gear. Jesus Christ, you have a great upgrade in your car. And
Yeah.
today I buy it for by hundreds, and I see buy people at the counter buying at tens, and they couldn't care less. They don't give the value that I used to have, used to give.
That's quite a culture shock, I imagine. That's quite.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how, I mean, your mum clearly, I thought there wasn't a career in slot cars, and I don't know whether she had a degree now or not, but obviously yeah, there is. So how did you end up at Sorry, I'm not leaping forward you to miss out anything, but just how did you get from that to Electric Dreams? That seems an odd next step.
So after that, I start to focus on my studying, and in Brazil you have a test that you do to get into the college. So I was not very into studying, and my family never kind of believed, oh, this boy's not gonna do nothing. So I took 5 tests and I passed all of them, so I could choose the university that I want to join, and it was kind of a nice thing. But what I did, I kept my tools for like this year and a half, 2 years, because people were still looking for me. And at the point that we left the market, we have like two big raceways, super hot that people were still racing, was still going on. I never got involved, but I remember people coming to my home and we have like a spare room and I have my shop over there and people asking me to do things. So at that time, I was doing motors and chassis too. So I was building those cars, sending cars to São Paulo, sending cars to national competition, stuff like that. But that kind of faded a little bit away because I was getting to 16, 17. Of course, my interests were a little bit different. I started to play basketball, I started to date girls, this kind of stuff.
Life goes to hell. I know it's
Yeah.
terrible.
So when I got my spot at the university, I was about to do advertising, uh, um, college degree or bachelor's degree in advertising. So it was super expensive. I passed five. There was the public option. There was no cost, but that one was the one that came from São Paulo. Was called ESPM, not NM, and that was the one to be. That's the one that you need to have on your resume. It was super expensive. I remember my mom coming to the door because every time that you pass one, you need to register so you don't lose your spot and you have to pay. We were just out of money. And I remember she coming, opened the door of my room. I was there like a teenager, adult Marco, and she say, "Okay, which one do you want?" Now I have the five. So I wanted that one. She looked, okay. So she go out and she did her job. Like she figured out the way, she figured out payments. She was great at this. But I remember that we need to do a big down payment to start the thing. And I called my friend Christian Castro, who was a guy who was like 2 or 3 years younger than me. Today he became like a stock car, a Brazilian stock car driver, race winner and stuff. He became a very famous like proper driver. But that time he was like 16 or 14, 15, whatever. And I called him, look, I know that you have money. Do you want to buy all my tools? What do you mean? Everything. Everything. The power supply was super expensive, like the tire thrower, everything. All my parts, every controller, everything. And say, yeah, I can talk to my father. So he gave me an offer, and that was enough to pay for college.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember the day because his father was a driver too, like a race car driver, very famous. He passed away too. And I remember the day that they parked on the driveway of the building that we used to live. And me and Christian, we were carrying everything else. And my father was sad to see it go because he didn't have the money to pay for the college, but then see me selling my tools. And Castrinho, which was his father, look to my father and say something. It's fine. It's just money. One day you have it, another day you don't. That's it.
I
And
mean, great that you were able to do that to afford it, but that's must have been a big because it was obviously a big part of your life at that stage.
yeah, it
So
was fading away. It was
yeah.
fading away a little bit. And the Christian it's still a very close friend. Like for you have an idea, years after I restart to race, and he gave me back the controller that I used to use as a gift.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's lovely.
I still have the
That's
controller. Yeah, it was a Parma controller that we just modify everything we could.
uh,
So he gave it back to me. So he was always a good friend, and I don't regret selling it. I saw everything going away. It was kind of sad, like literally your hand tools and stuff like that. Um, I remember Castrinho saying that to my father, like, it's just money. This things comes and goes. And right now, I'm literally administrating the biggest slot car store in the world. So things really, like, I can have access to any tools in any car part that I want. It's just, so
that is yeah, that is amazing. So okay, I'm going to push you now to say so when did you join Electric Dreams and how did you get back
I'm
into?
gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
Oh, you
I'm
get
gonna
there.
get there.
Okay, okay.
So I graduated. I started to work, and I remember I came to the US and I went to film school at UCLA. So that was like a three years and a half stint here in America, and then I got a call from a production company to return to Brazil. So I got back to Brazil. I was working as a director and writer for this production company, and I got a call from Christian. Say, look, there's a new raceway. It's very close to where you live. What about we go there and check it out? So we went there, check it out, of course. Next week we're there lining up for the race. Christian didn't stop, so he had more information that I had. He had already materials and stuff. So I started to gather my stuff and put together boxes and stuff like that. So I restarted racing when I was probably 26, 27. So I have like a 10-year hiatus there. I race a lot, like 2 or 3 years there, and at some point it was something that was not doing good for me because I was too involved. Because I want to come back to the level that I was before, was like unbeatable, and was not possible because I was working. Life was in the way, so I could not concentrate the way I could. So I ended up stopping doing it, and then we decided to move back to LA. I had another opportunity here. That was back 2015. Yeah. So we moved back here, and things were not doing well on my production side of it. And there was 3 blocks away from my house. There was a club called Big Loose. They have like this big Scalextrics 4-lane track, and they race plastic cars, 132nd Carreras, Scalextrics, whatever it is, slotted. And I never got any, didn't know anything about it. So I went there, saw. To be honest, I was a little bit. I had a little bit of prejudice on me. Say, oh, how are those guys doing those plastic cars? I used to build those cars from scratch. I know everything about it. And then I was just there hanging out. To be honest, I was looking for a place so I can practice my English.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. As you can see, it didn't work. Uh,
Yeah. I think you're doing pretty
so,
well. Yeah.
so I went there, and those guys were super welcoming. They offered me a car. They were having like a NASCAR race, Scalextric's NASCAR race, and I raced, and I think I got third out of like 12 or something. I said, okay. I didn't understand the magnet, the silicone tires, the whole thing, but yeah, okay. So what's next week? Oh, next week is gonna be Carrera DTM. And that was the first time that I started to Google about those cars, and I found out about Electric Dreams. Electric Dreams was like 25 minutes from my house. So I said, I'm gonna go there one day. So I got there. There's only one guy working. It was this big warehouse, no tracks, nothing, no decorations, just this big warehouse full of boxes in a counter made out of silver tape, literally like silver tape covering wood. That was it.
Yeah.
I bought the first car. I remember it was 36.99. And then next week I joined it. And the next week I called my mom, can you send my tools? So she shipped my tools, most of my tools here, soldering iron, all the other stuff that I used. And then I started to join those guys. So that was my 2000, probably 2017
Right.
that I found out about Electric Dreams. And the way that I ended up there is that, of course, things were not doing very good for me on the production, writing, directing side. And then I was getting more and more involved with slot cars, and I started to build chassis again because I won a couple of races at Buena Park Raceway, and people start to ask me for chassis. So I start to build more and more chassis and make money out of it, like good money, like rent money.
Right.
But I say, it's a lot of work. I'm proud of what I'm doing, but that's not it. So I keep going to Electric Dreams, and I see that that place has a lot of potential. I start to learn more about the owner, Scott Bader, and I was invited to race a race called the Checkpoint Cup here in Buena Park Raceway at the Blue King. It's a retro racing. It's Can-Am scratch build stuff. So I started to do some research about the chassis, how do you build, blah blah blah, and it's a big race. I remember that the year that I raced, 2019, they had 65 entries from all around the country. It used to be the Indy 500 of slot car racing here in America. It's just like it's a race that happened since the 60s. The name Checkpoint used to be a Checkpoint is used to be a name of a team back in the 60s. They have this big trophy that you put your name on it. It's a perpetual trophy with your name on it. So I got involved on that, and my first race I pull and I win. Nobody could believe it. People didn't know my name. My name, the results, my name still spelled wrong.
Fantastic. So out of nowhere, this guy arrives and
Nobody knew who it was.
blitzes it. Yeah.
I remember going. There's a video that my good friend Eddie did. There's a video of me going to qualifying, and I was the last one to qualify. And people were already celebrating in the background the pole position without seeing me. So,
Excellent.
so after that, I kind of got a little famous here on the California retro racing stuff, and I got introduced to Scott. So I went there for a museum, a tour in the museum that he has, the Los Angeles Slot Car Museum. So I met him. Next week, I have a friend of mine, a journalist from Brazil, who wanted to do a story on the museum for the newspaper. So I went there again, spoke with Scott. This friend of mine, interviewed him, took some pictures. And then 3 weeks or 4 weeks later, I sent an email to Scott. Look, I think there's a lot of potential over there at the store. I would like to introduce a 6 months plan to improve sales and image. We got a meeting. I went to Scott was still working at his main company, so I went there, and we spoke for almost 2 hours. It was great. Then he ghosted me for 6 months.
Oh,
Nothing,
oh, oh,
nothing.
oh, oh
Yeah.
no.
But then the pandemic came. The pandemic hit hard, and all my projects, everything that I was making money out of film and writing, stopped. And then I sent him an email. Look, I remember that we have a great meeting, and I think it's still possible to do that. Now I'm looking for a 9 to 5, and then he offered me a job. And that was it. That was almost 5 years ago. And I remember entering that place was just like rust, dust, spiders, and boxes.
That's a good album title. Rust, Dust, Spiders and Boxes. That's a great
Boxes,
album.
yeah. That was literally it.
And so this, which is, I mean, your tenacity is to be applauded, and clearly it was rewarded. So in terms of what we see now, albeit from several thousand miles away, but the store looks brand new, and there's all that memorabilia and bits of real cars, as well as, I mean, an amazing amount of stock and the tracks, etc. Was that part of the vision that you pitched him at? Has that developed over the time? So how far into the vision are you? What's the
Um, I think it develops year by year. The first idea was to put a track on it because we do have this premium real estate because it's probably the most expensive real estate that we have a slot car track on. It's California, it's El Segundo, it's a booming city, clearly the most expensive real estate to have a slot car track. But we had it. The story was already there. Scott owns the building. We have a tenant that rents the building from us and under the same roof. So I say, okay, so if you do this and this, and I'm very good at this, putting this image in my head together and say, okay, we can put the track here, we can put this place there, we can build this. So we did the first one. And the reason that we did was because Scott was also convinced that if you want to sell slot cars, you need to promote slot cars. We don't make any money out of the track, but we are able to show how cool slot cars are. And that's my biggest fight with my manufacturers that they don't push other resellers to do it. Might be a critic here, but it is. Might sound like a critic, but I'm just telling you it is. I don't think people should just start to sell out of their attic and start to do promotions and trying to cut on price if you're not promoting slot cars in any way. After almost 4 years now, finally, my biggest competitors here in America, they're finally doing something. They're finally organizing races. 2 years ago, maybe 1 year ago. And I'm happy with it because we're finally putting out events and people are meeting and we're selling more. And I think they benefit a lot from the promotion that we do. Like I have races with new cars that we had 8 teams and 4 cars were not bought at the store, but bought someplace else. Cars that are brand new, and they only start to carry because we have a race coming up. So I think they benefit a lot from the promotion that we do. And finally, those guys are doing something because 5 or 6 years ago, they're just getting smaller and smaller and smaller inside of a small warehouse or selling out of the garage and just promoting just like we do.
yeah?
And then when we talk to clients, they say, "Oh, I like to share my purchase. I like to buy here and there and here and there." Yeah, but just buy from who help out, maybe.
Well, you can only, I mean, it's yeah, any competitive retailing, but I think, I mean, basically what you've described is that classic thing is where, if you grow the market, then you sell more, rather than trying to just compete with
Yeah,
fight over what's there. If you grow the market, okay, everybody, but I mean, there's an old saying, which is, all boats rise on all boats float on a rising tide, so they make the market bigger and everybody benefits from it. It's interesting though. So in terms of I want to get to the answer about the question about the racing and the production values. You've kind of answered because of your background was clearly,
yeah.
yeah,
Not
would
not
make
not
it.
only me, but I also have Carlos working. Carlos was a childhood friend from the same hometown. He was also on a limb over there in Brazil, and he has a lot of TV experience. He was an executive for Fox in Argentina. He worked for my production company in Brazil for a long time too, and say, look, we have this position. I think we need to invest in promoting. And then Carlos' salary is just based on not on sales and promoting their hobby. So everything that Carlos does since the pictures that we started like 5 years ago, and now all the manufacturers that have proper pictures with white background they don't used to have. They don't used to have. So this is some sort of a stuff that me and Carlos, we brought with our skills to show how people can do better.
Now that's well. There's the question. So what we're talking about is that the slot car manufacturers, and I'll lump them all in together, and I know they're not all the same. But would you say they are struggling to market their own product? They've been relying too much on the
Yep,
retailers.
they like for like I know that in Europe, guys like Slotted and NSR they used to held races, especially that started back in 2001, 2002 when Slotted and NSR were coming up and they have this competition in between them, each other. In Spain is very rich with scale auto and Masters lot and this kind of stuff. So they do have those big events for longer than we have. But here in America, nobody was doing shit. And at the same time that I tell you that, basic things for me and Carlos that we just like proper pictures of your product, a proper release date. Let's promote this product by itself. Don't sell me as a batch of cars because everybody's gonna lose the interest. Tell me what's the proper release date for that. When this car is going to be ready. Stop lying. Don't tell me that it's going to be here by Christmas and get 6 months later because people are going to get frustrated with your brand. Where is your logo? Was I remember coming, it was a hardcore task to ask for a manufacturer to send me their logo.
We
They,
see.
I got logos like in a Word document, like a JPEG gluing on. Oh, this is our logo. No, this is not your logo. Like, what is your brand? So keep in mind those guys, especially the top three, and you can include Avant Slot. You can include like these new great brands that are coming up.
Mm.
Engineers, they're focusing on putting together the car and have a product that works. So on the other side, it was very hard to deal with. Like if you get brands like BRM and Revo that came like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe more, they already came with this idea in their mind. So they already have like proper pictures, proper catalogs.
Mm.
Those guys, they have to kind of build up and come up with this kind of stuff. And right now, if you talk to Scale Auto has two graphic designers in-house.
Interesting. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every single material that you see from the races, for products of the website, it's great. You download the pictures, everything is working now. But
Mm.
4 years ago, it wasn't.
So this maturity, if we can call it that, or a growing maturity of the market, is not only are we seeing more and more brands of ready-to-run cars, albeit to varying degrees that you need to tune them, but there's just the choice feels to me certainly as somebody who's been kind of passively interested in it for decades. The choice we have now is like never before. Um, Not even from the people we can buy them from. There are so many more companies, but
Yeah.
also those companies are making more models. I mean, Scalextric
Yeah.
and Carrera are making more
Last
models than
last
they ever
last
used
year,
to.
last year alone, we have over 800 new slot cars in the market.
Wow, wow, that is astonishing. Now, that begs the
And they,
question.
and they, they keep promoting in batches, which is wrong.
Which is yes. When you say batches, you mean they sort of say, "Well, here's
Like, oh,
five cars."
here's
Yeah.
15 new releases from Scalextric. Nobody cares. You need to tell a story. You need to have a storyteller to say, okay, so here's the Harry Potter car. That's the way that we got this done. Why would they have this done? The movies, where in the movie appears, they have the license to use that kind of image. So we need to promote that car. I need to have a special newsletter with full of images, full of his story, maybe a video talking about that car. You can just throw at us and expect that it sells because people will relate and create that story in their heads. Like I like to race with the Far Out Club here, and they have a class that is Formula One. My car is the Senna car because that's the car that I saw growing up. So it's for me, it's very cool to see my car, my Senna car, going sideways and overtaking everybody. You still have that nostalgic feeling in your head. And if you're a seller, if you don't tell that story, it's too much information.
I completely agree with that, and that my you may not be aware. My background was in PR, and so it was all about telling a story. Everything. The product was just a lump of metal. You had to tell a story, and we were constantly finding. We would fight to get to talk to engineers or to talk to people and say, "Don't tell us what you think we want to know. Just tell us what you think is."
Yeah.
And you would find stories, and stories bring things to life, and then that's you find a way of engaging with people. So do you again, not to turn it into a business discussion, but clearly you have a knowledge and a passion for slot cars, which then the opportunity to get involved with the retailer, so it's a kind of perfect combination. So from that position, and you're obviously starting to drag up the standard from some of the others. What's your feeling? Are you optimistic about? Are we in a golden age that's going to carry on, or are we in a golden age that the bubble's going to
Well,
collapse?
well, the golden age is called the mid 60s to early 70s. That's where we have companies here in California with 300 employees working three shifts making slot cars. What I see right now is that whatever those guys in Spain and Italy developed late 90s and early 2000s, that was gold for me because that's what we are having right now. Right now, we have much cheaper and reliable cars that are enjoyable as it was a 124 metal chassis, whatever it is. We just have the Nationals at the store with 75 people, 80 registered, and 70, close to 75, five on waiting list, 72 showed up. So it's a huge race, probably one of the biggest individual races in the world. We did the broadcast. The broadcast was the most slot car race viewed in history. We have over 4,000 people through the 12 hours of broadcasting. We brought Ian and Doug. I had Carlos directing the whole thing. As you mentioned, we have the cool graphics that sort of background. It's a lot of work because we need to take pictures of everybody and everybody's car. But we done. The night before the race is a nightmare, but we're here, we're alive. We're short-handed. It's literally me and Carlos doing it. With the background of my colleagues like Mark, Elias, and Kristen and Kate. But I think we're in a good time. Just need to find a way to discover new people. And I'm not saying kids, I'm saying new people who get involved with the hobby because everything never been better what we can offer. 800 new cars. You can relate with anything that you see. You have this big store in California with three huge tracks that you can show and take a look and have this experience and bring a track home. You know how easy it is to bring a track home? You can build a four lane polycar track with $500, $600 and you have races with your friends. So never been so easy, never been so available. And I think we need to find a way to explore. We cannot be the guy just trying to make money out of eBay. We need to find a way to explore, to share, to make events, to go to swap meets. Right now, we're getting ready because we're going to be at the El Segundo Car Show with a booth. No, I'm sorry, with a booth to promote kids. I just finished up a folder, and the title is ways to get involved in slot car racing. And the way that we divide it is you have five ways. You can go have home fun. You can be a club racer. You can be a pro racer. You can be a builder, or you can be a collector. And over there explains how much it is. So we're gonna try to hand those folders there because we need to bring more people. It's a very great time. It's a very good time to have new people because everything is available online or in big stores like ours.
When you get new people in, what is it? I mean, maybe difficult to generalize, but what is it that attracts them? What's the thing that
It
catches?
depends. It depends. There are people who just want to collect. I have several clients who go there once a week, get a car a week, sometimes two, and they have this huge collection at home, wrapping up their garage right in the middle of the living room. There are people who wants to have a track at home to race with their grandsons, to have some activity. There's people who get involved in races. There's people who get very serious very quickly in races, expend like $1,000 in tools that I say, look, don't buy this now. Though you're gonna get frustrated. Think it's just a hoodie tour that you need, but no, you need to be here, you need to talk to people, you need to learn. I've several times I say, don't buy this. Don't, it's too much for you right now. Just enjoy a little bit, take a break, just go. So it depends. There's people who just walk in there and by the door. That happens more than one time. By the door, they start to yell, I used to do this in the 70s. I have a store close to me. Like several times, it's just, oh, I got another one. We're close to the airport. There are people who come to California and that's their very first stop. They literally leave their luggage at the door, say, "Oh my God, I have to come here for the first." So it depends. It could be nostalgic, could be a new discovery, could be something that they have in their hearts and they want to share with their family, and could be just me trying to practice their English.
But I think that's tell. I mean, I've said before that when I first went to a club, the kind of the step up in appreciation, because up till that point, you've been racing at home, or you might even have put a track in the garden, sort of thing. But there's a physical space limit. As you probably appreciate, in Europe houses are much smaller than in the US. But so our tracks are pretty small. And when you go into a club and you see this huge track and more four lanes and people, and that first time you see a race when there's maybe very seldom four cars, but maybe two or three cars lapping almost in synchronicity with each other, it's absolutely thrilling.
Yeah.
And you can't get that other than having that physical experience. And that's why when you were saying about people coming from the airport, I can completely relate to that. You know,
Yeah.
you walk through the door and go,
Look,
"Wow, you know, I see this is some."
2 months ago on a Tuesday, I decided to go to the London Scalextrics Club. They open only on Tuesdays. Those are the guys who rent a space on a church
Yeah,
and put a track together every Tuesday night. And I had the same feeling. I say, oh my God, this is great. Look at those guys. Same thing. I've been doing this for 30 something years.
yeah.
I know every single manufacturer, every single car. I can put an NSR car together in under a minute if you want it. And I still like, oh my God, those guys are great. Look what they're doing. What are they racing? I still like a kid.
That's
So
good though.
that's a big, powerful motor that you have inside of you that we need to explore.
Yeah, no, that's good. Listen, we're getting very close to the running out of time, and I don't want to end without asking you the tricky question because we want to explain it. But thank you for all of that. And as I say often, I'm sure we could talk for much longer, and maybe we will in the future. But one of my favourite questions now is to ask people which car would they like to see modelled in ready to run. So not 3D printed, not sort of
Yeah.
500 off sort of thing, but they don't think it ever will. So it's a sort of car you love, but you just
It
think
never will?
you just
It
think
never
it'll
will?
never be. Yeah.
Well, the Mercedes C11.
Is that the?
Yeah, that's the next after the C9 that slotted
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
Yeah, the problem with that is there's only one decoration, and nobody's gonna ever do it. But that's one of my favorite cars. I had the chance to see it in person at the Mercedes Museum in Stuttgart.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't think we could twist Maurizio's arm just enough to just?
It's very different, but it's the same silver. Then unfortunately, it's never gonna happen because there's only one.
There's only one. Well, there you
Yeah.
go. Well, that's an interesting one because that's in a way this is why I think this is such a revealing question is because it lets people know what kind of cars people are interested in, but also that it's a little bit of a learning for why manufacturers make what they make. There may be a very significant car, but if there's only one livery or it's only the same colour as the other one,
Yeah. To pay for the mold, you need to sell at least 5,000 of those. And
Yeah.
you need to explore through the years.
yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
Mad.
That's mad. Yeah, mad.
You can make it, but who's gonna sell the car for $900? Don't know.
Well, you say there will be somebody, but it won't be me. That's for sure. I've been, there's if I ever become really rich, I look forward to becoming a regular customer at Velisor, but it's never going to happen. So, yeah,
I've been there.
it's otherworldly, I think. Isn't it?
I know that the time is going up, but it's a third generation of church restorers. If you get there, it's just like a medieval office with all wooden cabinets and pencils, and it's amazing.
Well, I'd love to. I just think their product is astonishing.
Unbelievable.
But sadly, not for me. I'm still at the stage where if I can have two slot cars for the same price as one slot car, then I'll have the two slot cars because that's more fun. Marco, thank you very much for that. That's
Thank
been
you.
fantastic, and I hope, certainly for me, it's worked because I've found out so much about your background that I had no idea about, and it's made sense of some of what you've been doing at Electric Dreams. So keep up the good work. I look forward to. It's unlikely I'll ever get out to El Segundo, but I mean, I do sit and watch an awful lot of the racing. And when I try to explain to people, they say, "What you've spent all weekend sat watching other people's slot car racing."
Yeah.
But
Getting
you
better.
know,
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting
no,
there.
it's really good. It's really good.
Thank
Thank you very
man.
much. Have a good time.
Thank you very
Cheers,
much.
man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.